Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Community Redevelopment Agency meeting. It is April 5th, 2021, and the time is 4 p.m. We will start this meeting off with comments from the public for non-agenda items. Do we have any cards? We have one card from Jack Vrooman.
Thank you, Mayor. Jack Vrooman, Good Sam 57, 631 Macy Street, West Palm Beach, Friends for Justice. Good to see y'all. I came here today to speak primarily about number 5. I understand it was pulled from the agenda, but I didn't want to miss the opportunity to welcome our brand new Commission President, Joe Peduzzi. Joe, I think you're going to do a great job. I'm happy to have an attorney with the gavel in his hand. And I've noticed over the short time that you have been in public office, your questions are also like, please explain that better to me, or I'm not really following that. And that is an approach that I appreciate as an advocate for the people who have the highest needs in this community. But of course, I'm really here to welcome Shalonda Warren as a new commissioner and to be here when she launches her public service career, which starts at 5. Now, of course, you're here representing private interests, and in large part, private vested interests. And the weird thing is that we're 2 minutes into this meeting, and you're really, in a lot of senses, the veteran up there. You've been around. You know the stories we can tell. So I feel like my loss of having you out here advocating for the same people, like the Progressive Business Association, that loss is balanced because I feel I have a witness up here. And if there's ever anything I say that sounds like that couldn't possibly happen, look over to her because she was there. I'll be back to speak in favor of number 4. Thank you.
Thank you very much. President Peduzzi, that must set some kind of record. 2 minutes into the meeting, you're already getting a compliment. Wow. You've been president for 2 minutes, you're already getting a compliment. That's impressive. All right, we'll start with comments from the board. Mr. President, any comments?
No comments, Mayor.
Commissioner Lambert?
Thank you, no comments.
Commissioner Fox?
No comments, thank you.
Commissioner Warren?
Good evening, no comments, sir.
And Commissioner Schoaf. I'm so used to calling you president, I'm sorry. Commissioner Schoaf.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I just wanted to make some comments, as I've heard from a lot of people, citizens, about the Lot 23 program that's staged to sunset here soon, to just give compliments to those artists who have been involved. There's been many talented artists throughout West Palm Beach, but namely in the Lot 23 program that we've been very privileged to have in our community. And it has been 100% clear to me from members of the community, from the CRA Advisory Board, that the one thing that the public would like to see are continued support of the arts and bringing the arts directly to our neighborhoods. So it is my hope that as we move down this journey that we will continue to find ways to make those programs a reality, not only to have the benefit of some great artists, but also to bring those arts directly into our communities. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Rugg, are there any additions, deletions, reorganization of the agenda?
Mayor, I would like to delete item 5 from the agenda. After speaking with the city attorney, the CRA board does not need to consider this item.
So we're removing it totally?
Please.
Okay. So item 5 is now removed from the agenda. Okay. We have consent calendar, items 2 through 3, 2 and 3. And, okay. Are there any comments from the board on consent? Okay, hearing none, I do have two cards on item 3, Matt Chambers and Will Davis.
Mine was just to show support, not to speak.
You have to come up to the mic. Oh, okay, so you don't want to speak, okay.
There was no need to speak, just get it done.
Thank you for your support is what he wrote. I'm sorry, Mr. Chambers.
That's
Yes.
okay.
Thank you. Mr. Davis, do you want to speak?
No, just get it done.
Okay, just get her done. I support. Okay, very good. Thank you both. And that's what we're trying to do is get her done. Okay. Hearing no further comments, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move approval of consent.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 4, resolution number 21-17, approving the conceptual design of the anchor site. Mr. Roog?
Mayor, CRA board members, very exciting to bring to you tonight the concept plan for the development of the anchor site, which is on the west end of Northwood Village. We've been working with the development team. Allison is the project manager, so we're very excited to bring the conceptual plan to you this evening. Allison.
Thank you, Chris. Allison Justice, Deputy Director, CRA. As Chris mentioned, we are very excited to show the conceptual plan. This has been a long time in the works. We have been working very closely with the development team. I'm going to just give a brief history of the project, and then I'm going to have members of the team and the architect come up and actually present the site plan, or I'm sorry, the conceptual plan to you all. As I know you're all aware, and I know we do have a new board member on this evening, so welcome. And I'll try and give a little bit of history on the project because I know you're new to the terms maybe of this. So the anchor site location is about approximately 3.3 acres. It did appraise at $4.35 million. We approved the development agreement and lease agreement back in September. The term of the lease was for 50 years. They were required approximately 350 residential units, 58,000 square feet of commercial space, plus or minus. We're requiring a 10,000 square foot public plaza and open space with an art component, and 450 parking spaces. We did require, as part of this project, additional parking spaces for Northwood Village, so it will be some public parking as well as parking for the residences in this development. We've agreed to a purchase price of $4 million, and if the developer develops the project within the timelines, we will waive that fee. We also have agreed to $1 million in permit and other development fees as they go to develop the project. So that was the CRA's contribution to this project. As far as the schedule goes, we're before you today with the conceptual plan, which was due 6 months after the agreement was signed, which we have been working back and forth with the developer. They've had a couple different iterations. We've met with planning and zoning, had them come back and tweak some items. So we are within the 6 months on the concept plan. If this is approved this evening, they have to submit their government approvals, meaning their site plan, within 6 months after the concept plan is approved. They anticipate they will do that sooner than the 6 months. However, that's their scheduled timeline per their agreement. And then 12 months after submittal, they need to have all of their approvals done so they can submit for a building permit. The entire construction, again, if they were to take the entire time, we're just giving the maximum date. Certificate occupancy would be February of 2025. Again, I know the developer, and we all hope that that is much, much sooner than that, but that is their deadline. Just to show you all, this was the invitation to negotiate, the proposal that was submitted by the developer at that time. They were selected based on their design and their qualifications. However, the design itself didn't meet all of the zoning requirements within the district. So we've been working with them to tweak their plan, to come up with what we feel like is a better plan, a more scalable plan for the area. So with that, I'm going to bring up, I believe Brian Seymour is going to come up and speak, and then we'll have the architect come up as well.
I feel like I should sing, but I know how I sing, so I'm not going to do that to y'all. I'm actually fully vaccinated, although I was not part of what I saw last night on 60 Minutes, I promise. I went through all the proper process, didn't get any special treatment. I'm just fat. My name is Brian Seymour. I'm the attorney for the developer on this project with the Gunster Law Firm. I actually am the newest member of this team, and I'm very excited to be here. We have been working, the development team, working with the staff on coming up with what you're going to see tonight. That includes working with your development services staff. This is not a regulatory review. This is not detailed with all of the engineering, with every little piece that you normally see as a city commission. This is you as the property owner looking at this and saying to the development team, hopefully, yes, go forward and start putting those details together and start going through that regulatory review process. And it is designed to meet the regulatory requirements, but of course, as we go through the process, as we're working with the staff, there will be refinements, there may be minor changes here or there. Anything significant, you'd have to see again pursuant to the lease. We don't think that's gonna happen. But really what we're asking for you to do today is to take a look at what Kobe Karp is gonna show you as the project architect and say to us, that's the concept we like. You did do what you told us you would do. Please go forward and start that regulatory review process. We will continue to meet with the CRA. Allison has been a tremendous partner in trying to find things that work for this entire community. And then as we go through that process, importantly, we're gonna be talking to the public. We're going to be meeting. We have committed to the CRA Advisory Board that we will show them the plans as they get refined and move forward as well, and we will do that. This is a process. So this is step one, technically step two once the lease was done, but this is step one in sort of the development process, what it's really going to look like and how we're going to go ahead and get it built. So I'm going to ask Kobe Karp of Kobe Karp Architecture to come up. Kobe is the project architect. And after today, you'll be seeing other people that become members of this team, and I think we're going to be focusing on hiring local West Palm Beach engineers, local West Palm Beach landscape architects, folks that'll work with Kobe. Kobe's the artist, he's the visionary here and a tremendous architect. He will be driving that bus, working with all of us and working with your staff. So Kobe's going to walk you through the design concepts that will be the basis of what we're going to work through for submittal to your Development Services Department and approvals ultimately back to the City Commission. So if we're going to be here with any question, the developer, Mr. Benamou, is here as well. Happy to answer them if you have any as we go. Thank you very much.
Hi, good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Kobe Karp, and as Brian has mentioned, I'd like to take a second of your time and just kind of walk you through this presentation we've been working with your staff upon. So, basically what we have had is create an opportunity to make this location as more of our town center. We like to call it the town square, where not only the residents of this proposed community can come down, but also everybody else in the community can come. So some of the comments we've had is, can we have Broadway continue southward past 24, past Northwood, and onto 23rd Street, which we complied. And also, can we have part of the plaza right here, which is the termination point to 24th Street, which gives you this vista onto and through to the railroad tracks, be partially covered. So what we did is we created this area right here, which is covered. We created a light well, and we then created an opportunity for the pedestrians to come all the way to the railroad tracks and walk along the railroad tracks, all the way from 23rd Street northward towards 25th Street, be able to come around all the way on 25th Street, walk along the trees, and you can see there's parking on the side of 25th Street, there's parking on the side of Broadway. So we have really created more of a streetscape similar to what we have here, which allows the pedestrian activity to walk along the streets. And you have the blue, which is the residential component, and then you have the green, which is the proposed retail commercial for the community, mostly for food and beverage that is so inherent in this community, which we want to continue and promote to bring to this indoor-outdoor cross-ventilated space, so that when I walk along Northwood or I walk along Broadway, I have, even along a Pinewood, I have that sort of experience that allows me to really engage with the street. Part of the discussions that we had was how is that going to work, and what we did here, oopsie, it's going a little slow, there's a little clock, there it is. That light well that brings the light directly from above, it's a 50-foot diameter right about here at the crossing of Pinewood and 24th Street, because part of it will be a place where people can congregate, but we also wanted to make unique, because you can take the ramp up here, and the public parking and the guest parking and the commercial retail parking you can enter right here, and it's right above you. It's very accessible. The residential lobbies are these little pink corners right here. They let you in, and then what happens is that you have an opportunity to go on to the next level up, which is the Amenity Deck. And basically it's an H-shaped building, but we have a big green open space with light and air on the east side. On the west side, again, this is the light well that lets the sunlight and the air to come right on through. On the south side, we created a plaza with a pool, amenity area, swing sets, exercise, yoga for the residents, with a clubhouse right here. But that allowed us to keep the 4-story buildings and the 3-story and the 4-story buildings on 24 and 23rd, and really engage to the north, have the taller building. This is a 5-level residential apartments, which gives a lot of light and air. Here you can see it. You can see how 23rd is on the left. Northwood is right here. We have the low rise. Then we matched our pedestal in amenity area at the same height. And then we put the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 floors of resi right here. This is, again, an open courtyard in the middle. These windows are floor-to-ceiling glass windows. We just finished a project in Wynwood, also similar to this, with that kind of a feeling, Wynwood 25. And you see here's another block right here of 5 stories. So we have a lot of open space. And that building is the H shape right here in the graphic right on top, right? And so you can see on 23, and on Northwood and on Broadway, we have the low rises, which are 3 and 4, and so is our southern part of our design, which complies with the requirements and discussions we'd had with the city staff. And further, what people asked for is, besides having the landscaping on the street, can we walk along the building all the way around and be protected from the rain? So what we did is we pulled in our glazing system, and we have an overhang. It's like a veranda terrace that lets you walk along and be protected from the sun, from the rain. So the view through the plaza can be like this. The blue in the back is an Amtrak train we put back there just for perspective. We're looking to finish the ceiling with art that can be stretched on a fabric or something like that with a lighting to it, and also recycled wood materials, as we'll be looking to do this as a green building and make the lights on all the periphery come down. This can be the commercial retail. And you can have outdoor seating for the community, whether you want to have a farmers market or you want to have an event or you want to have something to see through. This is obviously looking straight through to the west. This is the residential on top. This is just a progress image. I haven't yet put my landscaping on top here and the landscaping on top here. And obviously we have the commercial and the retail all the way at the ground level. And you can see how you can interact and walk through the Passage and the Paseo and really be connected from Broadway all the way around. This is 24th Street termination. And we also took time and met with the folks in the community. They wanted the garage to blend in, so the garage has glazing here, frosted, and it allows for the cross ventilation. So at night when it lights up, it has like a lantern look to it, like a Chinese lantern, because the lights are inside the garage. Yet we're going to use it as something to highlight the building. And we use the graphics and the geometries came from the fabric of the community. We actually had it also in our original design, but here you can see how people can walk along the street between the trees on both sides. They can park on the side, and that comes around. So this is looking north on Broadway, where 24th is right over here. And I think that's about it from where it is that I am right now, unless you have any questions and or suggestions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Before Mr. Carp sits down, board members, do you have any questions for him? Commissioner Shove.
Thank you, and thank you for your presentation, Mr. Karp. If you could give us a little bit more detail on the buildings that are just to the south and what the transition from Northwood Road into Pleasant City looks like.
So this building right here, which is on 23rd and Broadway, will be a 4-story. This building right here is a 3-story. It has 2-bedroom units in it in blue. This building right here is a 4-story on 24th Street and Broadway. This building, we were requested and we complied to let the Passage drive-through of Broadway southward towards 23rd. And this is residential on the ground level as well as the upper floors. And so that's the composition of these buildings, and that's why we also held back our low-rise on Northwood on both sides. And then the H-shaped building starts right about yay and goes northward.
Follow up.
Thank you very much for that, and I'm appreciative of that fact that we're stepping down to make that transition from the Pleasant City neighborhood into Northwood Road. I know in presentations to the CRA Advisory Board, things that were important to them, as well as the board members and residents of the community, were that extension and that connectivity that this development has the potential to make. So thank you for explaining those details.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, we felt it's very important, yes.
Any other questions from the board members for Mr. Carp? Okay, thank you, Mr. Carp.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Seymour, is there somebody else that, Ms. Justice, is there any other part of this presentation?
No, Mayor, that's all on the
Okay.
presentation.
Board members, any questions, comments? Yes. Commissioner Lambert and Commissioner Shove.
Thank you. I was just going to ask, as far as next steps related to community outreach and next steps, should this be approved tonight?
Well, the immediate next step is build out the development team, no pun intended. Get our folks on board, start looking at some of the implications, what happens, looking at the traffic, what the flows. And then once we have some of those pieces put together and we're getting ready to submit an actual application with all those details, we'll start some community outreach with what we know we're really looking at. Right now, we can't answer enough questions because it's conceptual. So as we get some of those answers and start putting that together, we'll be going out and meeting with the community. We'll be talking to NCON. We'll obviously be coordinating very closely with Commissioner Shove, who's very involved in making sure we're doing this the right way. Working with CRA staff and getting out to the right people. So it'll be a concerted effort to make sure the folks in Northwood, the folks in the neighborhood there, Pleasant City, they're all part of what we're going to do.
Follow up?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that, Brian. And I know that you mentioned, and I appreciate you referencing that you'll be looking to hire locally. I was just, I don't know if we have certain requirements on this project that they have to meet for hiring small business, minority-owned businesses.
There is, I believe it's the 15% requirement, as with all contracts.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Commissioner Shove?
Thank you, and thank you very much for the presentation, and thank you for the engagement thus far. My same question was going to be around community benefit, community engagement. Namely, make sure to add to your list in the audience this evening the Northwood Village merchants. And they're a pivotal component to creating that success and continuity. But I think, some of the discussion that has come up around this project is looking back at lease agreements and public benefit packages. And I know we mentioned a lot of things this evening, 10,000 square foot of public space with art components, parking with additional parking to access Northwood Road. One of the things that we've talked about for a long time was a grocery store. And that wasn't specifically mentioned today, so I just want to make sure to clarify and mention, because I know it's one of the very important components of this.
So in the design that Kobe walked through, you could see some of the large retail spaces. They weren't cut up into 2,000 square foot spaces. They were really designed so that we could accommodate a grocer that's there. You may not see it, you're not going to see a 40,000 square foot grocer, but I don't think anybody wants one there either. But that there is an opportunity for a neighborhood grocer, for someone to be able to come into that space. And we are making sure that the design itself allows for square footage for that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments, questions from the board? Okay, we do have a few cards. Jack Vrooman, Matt Chambers, and Will Davis.
Thank you, Commission, President. Jack Froman, 631 Macy Street, blah, blah, blah. So I'm standing in support of this because it is exactly what CRA money is supposed to do. And that is the reason that I emailed all of you the state statute that provides the outline of how money can be spent. And it's always says slum and blight. Slum and blight. So every decision you make, I would like you have that email there. The full statute, of course, is available, 163-360. But it brings up the question of some of the other projects that this commission has funded in the past. From that technical standpoint, about $14 million was spent on the Clematis redo. That was not slum and blight prior to it. It's very nice. I understand, although I don't know all the details, that the CRA has found $1.8 million to offer as an incentive to a company that's going to be moving in to a building owned by the related group. So if you had a picture of that building up there of where this money from you is going through them, does it pass the smell test? Is that how the state wants you spending this money? I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it isn't. Now, as far as number 5, which got pulled, and I'd like to think I had something to do with that, but it's very intricately involved in this project. There's really zero reason for those things to be apartments. It would be much better use of city resources to just tear them down. The way it was presented, though, a better way to present, a more fair way to present it, would be to look at the lost income of what was 609 Northwood, which became part of the 550 Northwood, which is where those are. That has been vacant for as long as I know, about 5 years. And you would put that in how much that could have brought in rent, in income, versus how much the benefit's going to be from those apartments there. And then you would say, well, boy, that's really, that's a slam dunk case. We really should do this because it makes sense. But what it doesn't make sense is to throw your partners out, your 10-year partners who have been working essentially for minimum.
Thank you very much, sir. Matt Chambers.
First of all, thank you for that cleaning up after each speaker. Welcome to the commission, Commissioner. Congratulations to your presence. What can I say?
Matt, before, just state your name for the record.
I'm sorry, Matt Chambers, Old Northwood, West Palm Beach. I've been standing in front of this microphone for the last 10 years talking about Northwood and what do we need in Northwood and what can be done and what can happen. So conceptually, I'm 100% supportive of this. This will change the north end of the city between Curry Park being changed and now the north end anchor site. That will bring livelihood to Northwood Road. I am a shop owner on Northwood Road. I welcome this project. I just want to thank the developer, the architect, and the representative here tonight. But I also want to give some advice. NCON is not enough to meet with NCON. I know Kelly mentioned the Merchants Association. I'm sure Will's going to speak about that. But I think we need a bigger meeting on there. Maybe we call a whole neighborhood in there to let them know what's going on. And I'll give you some suggestions on that. I've been in enough of those meetings that you ask for the questions ahead of time, you control that meeting, and you'll get the support from the north end. If you come in prepared with the answers for the questions ahead of time. And one more thing, the conceptual view today was great looking in. Have some conceptual views looking out. What is it going to look like standing in the circle out to Broadway and out to Northwood Road and out to Pinewood? That'll be important for the community, and I think it'll be important for the merchants to see how that's going to affect Northwood Road. That's all I have to say. Thank you for serving everybody, and thank you for tonight.
Thank you very much.
And thank you again.
Next speaker is Will Davis.
Thank you. Good evening, Will Davis. I am dual role here. I am a resident in Old Northwood, and I'm also a merchant in the Northwood Village Merchants, and I'm also the president of the Merchants Association, and we cannot wait for this to be done. I mean, we have a whole group of individuals who are ready with shovels and ready to pull the tool belts and help with this to be done. Commissioner Shelf did mention about the supermarket, or having something of that concept would make it huge, because in the Northwood Village District, we are in a grocery desert. There is not a grocery that is available with fresh fruits, vegetables for these individuals to have. They either have to go to Palm Beach Island, or they have to go off of Broadway and 48th Street at the Sabor Tropical supermarket to get their groceries. Some of them are very single grandparents who are now raising their grandchildren, and it makes it very difficult for them to grab those groceries. So I think it would be very important. Also, when the time does come to speak to the merchants, a lot of these buildings are going to be directly behind some of these businesses. So it's going to make a big difference where these buildings that are going to go in may cast a shadow on these existing businesses, since they are only a single story. So again, it'll be very important when that time does come, and I know hopefully it's sooner than later, but we are definitely in huge support of this coming forth. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Those are all the cards. Any other questions, comments, board members? Yes, Commissioner Schoaf.
Mayor, just to clarify for the record, if I was remiss in mentioning a full community engagement, it's because it was already assumed and something I've already spoken with the development team that is absolutely pivotal and necessary. So thank you very much to members of the public for bringing that up. And also, I would be remiss if I didn't, at every avenue, take time to say thank you very much to Allison Justice, who's shepherded this project forward, and Chris for your leadership in helping to move it along. It is absolutely landmark for the North End and will be, I believe, the catalyst to development going forward. So thank you to mayor, staff, and all staff that have worked on this, and so looking forward to getting to work.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? I don't hear any, see any hands, so I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 21-17.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. There is none. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Exciting stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And item 5 has been removed, so this meeting is adjourned. We'll reconvene as a city commission at 5 p.m.